Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today again on the Church History Trail, and we're continuing here in Fermanagh, and we're now inside the castle, as you can see, Enniskillen Castle, and where we are is we're actually outside the Watergate. If you remember in the last wee video, we were at the front, and so now we're at the back of it. And so there's a wee bit of information here. I'm going to read a wee bit of it out to you. I'll read this part here. I mentioned this earlier in the last video, but it's the flag of St George flies over the Watergate, a tradition that goes back to the 17th century when local soldiers of the Enniskillen regiments fought for the Protestant William of Orange against the Catholic James II. The Enniskillen regiments received recognition within the Williamite Army and later became the 5th Enniskillen Dragoon Guards and the Royal Enniskillen Fusiliers. The Watergate has long been adopted as an emblem of these regiments. And there you are. So this is actually the oldest part, ladies and gentlemen, of the castle. Incredible, and there's the flag of St George, as you can see, still flying over the Watergate. And there's the Watergate. And as I mentioned before, it was never a Watergate, even though it's called the Watergate, probably because it's right beside the water. That's why it's called the Watergate, but it certainly was never a gate which led out to the water, that's for sure. But there you go. So we'll have a wee look out, see what we can see here. There's a wee old house. There's the fishermen in the competition, fishing away. You can see right up the lock there, so you can, as you can see. So there you are. So this is the Watergate. Fantastic. So good to have this. This is a part of history, of course. And this was here during the Williamite Wars in Ireland. Fantastic. So I'm going to have a wee look at the rest, at least more of the museum here. And this is the Enniskillen for a shop. The Enniskillen Dragoons had a fur major whose team acted as blacksmiths. Their forge equipment travelled on mules and carts, and battle farriers carried a poleaxe to put down badly wounded horses. I wonder, and I'm not trying to be funny here, but I wonder, is that where that term comes, poleaxed? You know, we hear somebody's drunk and you say they're poleaxed. Maybe that's where that term comes from, I don't know, from the horses. Who knows? Who's this man here? This is Sergeant Morton, I think that is, was last man off the ship. He took part in the charge of Balaclava, and of course that's where you get the term balaclava, which you put over your face, and later became Regimental Sergeant Major. He is buried at Rosary Church, Enniskillen. His 5 sons all served in the First World War. Oh, that would be good to be able to find his grave. It says there, "I do not see any of my men there, and I will not leave them." So that's what he said. He's private, 6th Enniskillens, and that's in stable dress. So there you are. So we're going to have a wee look. So this obviously is the man here, looking after the horses. There's the blacksmith. As you can see, of course the horses had to be trained as well for battle, because they had to be used to gunshots, because there was no good taking a horse in if it wasn't used to battle. Oh, he's talking to it. Oh, the wee horse is getting excited. got her under control. control now, I think. There's some of the equipment. They're getting into battle, I heard him say tomorrow. So there you are. And this is the 145 years of the 6th Enniskillen Dragoons. So there you are, that's from 1751, the trooper, right up to 1896. So there you go. So that's quite amazing, isn't it? So we'll go a wee bit further then, will we? Well, here, I've never seen this side. There's the other side. That's the 1688 Enniskilleners volunteered to defend their town. That's the Dragoons. It says those with horses became Dragoons and those without became foot soldiers, later Fusiliers. A Dragoon carried a sword and a short musket and fought either on foot or from his horse. So there you go. And there's an Enniskillen Dragoon, Cunningham's horse, Boyne and Aughrim, 1690 and 1691. There's this man, this is 6th Enniskillen Dragoon, Waterloo, 1815. That's the Napoleonic Wars. And that one there is the Williamite Wars. And there's the Dragoons in action. That's a 17th century Dragoon officer. And the 6th Enniskillen Dragoon, mid-18th century. And that's the Enniskillen officer, 1801. And then that one there is Balaclava Dragoon, 1854. So quite a wee bit of history here, which is very good. And this is the Enniskilleners then, the tanks and the armoured cars, as you can see. And that's the horse. The end of cavalry. The First World War witnessed a transition on the battlefield from the soldier on horseback to armoured fighting vehicles. The 6th Enniskillen Dragoons raised an additional squadron in 1914 for wartime service. So there you are. So we're going to have a wee look here at the posters. The North Irish horse. I think I done a gentleman's grave a few days ago. I think it was the North Irish horse that he was in. I'll have to check that. So this is a fantastic museum. So why don't you get yourself down here if you live in the vicinity? It says they're Irishmen. This was the Impartial Reporter. 1808 was established. Is there a date for this one? It's 1 penny. 1915. Enniskillen, 4th of November 1915. Irishmen, you cannot permit your regiments to be kept up to strength by other than Ireland's sons. It would be a deep disgrace to Ireland if all her regiments were not Irish to a man. A call to 50,000 Irishmen. There you are. Now there's Lord Allenby, General Allenby, and he marched into Jerusalem. What does it say about him here now? Field Marshal Edmund Allenby, 1861 to 1936, the last great master of cavalry warfare. He was born in East Anglia. His first active service was in, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, and that's Zululand in the 1800s. During the South African War, 1899 to 1902, he commanded the 6th Enniskillen Dragoons in successful cavalry operations against the Boers. And then that's the First World War. After senior command on the Western Front, he took over the Imperial Army in Egypt in 1917, building on the preparations of his predecessor, General Murray, a former Enniskillen Fusilier, which included a 300-mile railway water pipeline Allenby, with meticulous planning and inspiring leadership, led a successful campaign which drove the Turks out of Palestine. And he did indeed. And there you can see him actually. General Allenby makes his formal entry into Jerusalem, December 1917, and I have a documentary in the house. And there's a Jewish lady who was there when she was only a child, but she was there. And later on then, when she's an elderly lady, she actually talks about General Allenby coming through the Jaffa Gate, I think it was, if I remember rightly. And she wondered what was happening. And she says the whole city was applause, and it was, she didn't know what was going on. And then she says she's seen Lord Allenby, and she says it was like Messiah himself had come into Jerusalem. And it reminded me of what the Lord Jesus said actually, because when he came to the Jews, of course he was rejected by his own people, the Jews. Not only the Jews, he was rejected by the Gentiles as well, because, and we're Gentiles of course, because it was both Jew and Gentile that crucified the Lord. And it reminded me of what the Lord said to the Jewish people. He says, I come in my Father's name, and you do not receive me, but if one comes in his own name, him you will receive. And of course, I believe that's referring not to Lord Allenby, of course, but to the future man of sin, who's known in Scripture as the beast, and also some refer to him as the Antichrist. So there you are, but that's what that reminded me of. And then there's another one of General Allenby, as you can see. So this gentleman that had a connection, this former Enniskillen Fusilier, General Murray, had a connection with Allenby, because he prepared the troops for the leadership of Allenby. So there you are. Fantastic. There's a tank, I'll show you that in a minute, or an armoured car. Here's another one here. Look at this machine here. I hope the gun's not loaded. Boys, oh boys. That's fantastic, isn't it? I think this is going to be a lengthy video. I thought it was going to be a short one, but it doesn't look like it. Could you imagine me sitting in that thing? My goodness. There's not a big lot of room for you in there, like. There's the motorbike. Look at that. If my friend Tom I always get Tom's surname mixed up. McLean is watching. What do you think of that one, Tom? That's from 1960. Fantastic. That's Tom from Positive Belfast, of course. So there you are. And that's the entrance to the, that's the keep of the castle, but it's also the entrance to the Enniskillen Museum. So this has taken us right up to the modern time, for the looks of things. That's the American Jeep. Isn't that amazing? That's fantastic. That's the Jeep. The 4x4 general purpose utility vehicle. I've seen them in the war movies. And there's the communications, the radio. And look at these men here. That's an armoured vehicle. Going in. I'll take you around the market as well. Look at that machine there, boys and boys. That's incredible, isn't it? I wouldn't like to get on the wrong side of him. Definitely not. That's how you read this here. This is Italy 1944, near Monte Cassino. Men of the 6th Battalion Royal Enniskillen Fusiliers move up to the front, past comrades to the Irish Brigade, the London Irish Rifles. So there you are. There's the bagpipes. Definitely is a good museum here, there's no doubt about it. So I'll take you over and show you this contraption here in a wee second, once we get these finished. Well, this is the first aid post. So it is. There you can see them giving first aid to their comrades. So this is the first aid post. And there's insects, so they must have been affected by the insects. Insect-borne disease. It says there historically more soldiers died through infectious disease than by enemy action. This was particularly true in the tropics. It's a silent killers. And of course, during the American Civil War, most soldiers died through disease. And it wasn't actually the ball itself that killed them, the mini bullet, it was the lead poisoning that they took from it. They took disease from that. So there you are. That's Henry Lamb. Henry Lamb was medical officer of the 5th Enniskillens in Macedonia, Palestine and the Western Front, 1917 to 1919. And there, he's working on someone. See what he has in there. This is equipment. Hey, what's this? That's staff only, so we're not allowed in there. And that's inside. So this is a German 77mm light artillery gun, what you're looking at now. Incredible, isn't it? So I'll take you over and show you this machine here. That looks like something you'd use in the desert with the colour of it. So what is it? What's a Saladin? Obviously it's named after the Muslim leader. The Saladin, a multi-role reconnaissance armoured car, was made by Alvis Vehicles. It was used by the British Army between 1959 and 1972. Many were sold overseas to 18 countries, serving into the 1990s. They were widely used by the armies, of Gulf states. There you are. It says here, the 5th Royal Enniskillen Dragoon Guards operated Saladins when in Eden, Bahrain and Libya. In 1964 to 1965, their vehicles would have been painted in desert colours. And of course, as I say, probably, my guess is it's named Saladin because of the Muslim leader who was a great war hero in Islam. So there you are. And again, there you can see the badge of the Enniskillens, which is the Watergate. And you can see the flag there as well, the flag of St. George. So there you go. So I'll not take you in there. I might take you in later. I'll see what way we are for time. But I'm going to take you around the market. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the Watergate again, and then we'll end this wee video. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Watergate. Again, if you enjoyed the channel, please like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And also don't forget to share, because it means other people then can enjoy the videos. God bless.